This is the most popular true crime documentary ever made. Do you know why? Because this unsolved mystery will keep you awake at night. And now, we're going to take you to the crime scene where the bizarre behavior of the lead investigator left everyone speechless. Are you ready? Here are the top 10 key points of the crime scene that shocked America. What really happened that night? Number 10. A Nightmare Before Christmas. On December 1996, 6-year-old beauty queen JonBenét Ramsey was enjoying quality time with her father John at their Boulder, Colorado home. After their evening activity, they returned home to their mother Patsy and older brother Burke. At 8:30 p.m., the family sat down to watch the movie Jingle All the Way. But that night would end up being anything but jolly. As the hours passed, John became suspicious after noticing that JonBenét wasn't in her bed. He went to check on her around 11:45 p.m. But little did he know he would never see his daughter alive again. In fact, she was nowhere to be found. And so began one of the most terrifying investigations in American history. 9. The Perfect Family. In the beginning, the Ramsey family appeared to be the perfect American family. John and Patsy were successful real estate broker. They had a beautiful home in a quiet suburb. And their kids looked set to have promising futures. But behind closed doors, it was a different story altogether. Patsy was an overbearing stage mom who pushed her children to perform. She entered JonBenét into beauty pageants from the age of 4, which garnered her media attention and some prize money. When she won the Little Miss Colorado crown, Patsy became even more obsessed with the spotlight. So much so that she hired a full-time nanny for Burke and JonBenét. Sadly, the couple's marriage was also falling apart, and they couldn't hide their problems from their kids. It was only a matter of time before their world came crashing down. Number 8. The Mysterious Ransom Note. After realizing that their daughter was missing, John called the police. And just when officers arrived at the house, he presented them with a ransom note. He claimed that they received it in the morning, but they didn't read it until evening. And so they didn't call the cops right away. The note read, "We would like $118,000 by 8 a.m. on December 27th in the Boulder Community Hospital basement parking lot. We will take good care of your daughter." The note had strange indentations and smudges, making it difficult for investigators to analyze. And the amount mentioned was actually John's life insurance policy. Could it be a coincidence or something more sinister? Number 7. The Secret Passage. For the next 9 hours, the police conducted a massive search of the area, but couldn't find any trace of the young girl. Finally, at 1:50 a.m., John discovered her body in the basement. How did he find her? The answer would shock the entire nation. There was a secret passageway behind a bookshelf in the basement that led to a small storage room where JonBenét was lying. Her ankles were bound together and she had a garrote around her neck. An autopsy revealed that she had been hit on the head at least twice and died from strangulation. Investigators were appalled at the brutality of the crime, but there was still one important question: how did she get into the basement? Number 6. No signs of forced entry. One of the strangest aspects of this crime is that there were no signs of forced entry or struggle. The front door was locked from the inside. The windows were intact. And surveillance equipment was either non-existent or missing. Even the dogs in the neighborhood didn't bark that night. Detective Steve Watts said, "I had never seen a murder investigation where there was that little physical evidence left behind." Later, DNA testing failed to find any evidence of a third party in the basement, which opened up new lines of questioning. Did someone in the house kill her? Number 5. Who was behind it? From the start, detectives pursued 2 theories to explain the crime. First, an intruder killed JonBenét after entering the house. Second, a member of the Ramsey family was involved. This second theory was intriguing, but very controversial. However, the FBI couldn't rule out this possibility. They saw enough evidence to suggest that the killer may have been someone close to JonBenét. For instance, the person knew the layout of the house and the location of the secret passageway. But if it was an insider, then who had the motive? John and Patsy were grief-stricken parents, not criminals. Their son Burke was only 9 years old. Then there was their nanny, Linda, who was busy with another child that night. Unfortunately, fingerprints and other evidence could not confirm any of these possibilities. Number 4. Media frenzy. By January 1997, the whole nation was gripped by the bizarre crime. The media coverage was intense, creating an unprecedented frenzy. Outside the Ramsey house, dozens of reporters jostled for position, flashing their cameras through the night. Any minor development could bring them closer to the killer. And they were hungry for a scoop. This pressure intensified the public's desire for answers. And newspapers across the country published their theories about who could have committed the crime. Some blamed John, citing his unusual behavior during the investigation. Others blamed Patsy, pointing to her obsession with fame. Even Burke became the focus of speculation, although he was only a child. Amidst all this chaos, the police were determined to get to the bottom of the case. But every lead seemed to be a dead end. And they were still no closer to solving the mystery. No. 3. The ramifications. As the months turned into years, the case remained in the public eye. But this extensive media coverage had both positive and negative ramifications. On one hand, it kept the pressure on law enforcement to solve the case. But on the other, it risked tainting potential witnesses and jurors. Moreover, the sensationalism surrounding the case sometimes overshadowed the real tragedy, a young girl losing her life. And people started to speculate whether the media's obsession with celebrity culture contributed to Patsy's actions. Was she trying to become famous through her daughter's death? Well, the answer was clear. The media was partly to blame. The reporting was so invasive that John Ramsey received anonymous letters claiming to be from the killer. Also, the amount of publicity given to the case made the killer feel emboldened. They knew that the police were under immense pressure to make an arrest. And this gave them an advantage. No. 2. DNA evidence. One major breakthrough occurred in the early stages of the investigation. An analysis of JonBenét's clothing revealed microscopic fibers that couldn't be matched with any carpet or furniture in the house. The police believed they could have come from the kidnapper's car or clothing. However, DNA testing proved inconclusive, leaving more questions than answers. Moreover, handwriting analysts couldn't confirm whether Patsy wrote the ransom note. In fact, they couldn't even determine its author. And finally, none of the blood samples taken from the crime scene matched John, Patsy, or Burke. These DNA findings were a major setback for investigators. They raised more questions than answers, and they made it difficult to narrow down the suspects. Number 1. Unsolved. Despite all the investigation, no one has ever been convicted of JonBenét Ramsey's murder. Decades have passed since the horrific crime, but theories still divide experts. Some believe that an intruder killed JonBenét after entering the house. However, this doesn't explain the secret passageway or the lack of forced entry. Others believe that someone inside the house was involved. But if it was an insider, why was no one convicted? In the end, we may never know the truth. The crime scene that shocked America is still one of the country's darkest mysteries. What do you think really happened that night? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, share and subscribe.